At one point during these few days, I actually thought my life was at risk. Being honest. I mean, it got to that level. I began to question things. This brought some hard reality checks into my life. It made me start wondering what I'm focusing on, where I'm putting my energy, where I'm putting my time. And something really interesting I picked up from it was there was a lot of things I was doing in my life that were stressing me out.
This is The Fighting Entrepreneur, the podcast dedicated to entrepreneurs looking to change the world. Learn how to start, build, and scale a business in today's highly competitive business environment. Here's your host, The Fighting Entrepreneur, Anik Singal.
What's up, you crazy fighting entrepreneurs? Guess who it is? Your favorite person in the whole wide world, Anik Singal, back with another episode. It's just me today. You know what? Actually, over the next month and a half, there's going to be a lot of just me episodes. There's a lot going on here at Lurn. Really fun, exciting things. And I want to spend this time with you. I don't want to share you with someone else. All right? No, we're going to have some guests as well, but you will see a little bit more uptick on the personal episodes. Today, we're going to change gears a little bit. I'm not going to talk about internet marketing or being an entrepreneur or any of that. And I'm going to talk a little bit about social media, but more specifically, Facebook. The topic of today's episode is why I've deleted my Facebook account for now. Okay, so we're going to dive deep into that because I'm going to tell you I've had some realizations over the last few weeks. I also had a very, very, very big health scare, like big. Okay, we'll talk a little bit about that. I've not been open about it yet. I've not actually revealed this or talked about it with anybody outside of my immediate circle. So this will be a fun episode. Listen to it. It's me testing a new type of episode. Let's see how it responds, and then we can go from there. So first and foremost, Lurn.com, Lurn.com. Are you a member of this amazing community or not? It's absolutely free to join. Go right now, Lurn.com. And of course, AnikPodcast.com to listen to all of our episodes and to binge on them. And of course, hey, if you're on YouTube right now, can you please do me a favor? Click subscribe, hit the little bell icon, leave us a comment, and hit the plus icon. Or thumbs up icon. There you go. All right. It helps us get the message out to more people. And if you're on iTunes or any of the other platforms, make sure to leave us a review and hit subscribe. It, again, helps us get this podcast out to even more people. So what in the world is going on? It has now been officially over 2 weeks, and I have not logged into Facebook even once. As a matter of fact, I've even abandoned my Inside My Head Facebook group. I haven't sent a newsletter to the Inside My Head newsletter in a while. That's going to pick back up. And I'll explain in that newsletter and apologize to everybody for why I left the Facebook group. But I'm going to get kind of into a series of events. This is a conversation I'm going to have that many people out there will never have. Many entrepreneurs and many of the people out there that are the go get 'em types aren't going to have this conversation. So I'm going to have it. Listen, there is a real mental toll, a physical toll that happens to you, a spiritual toll, an emotional toll. Every level of you as a person, as a body, is impacted when you're an entrepreneur or when you're in a high-stress environment. Executive of a company, important position, work stress, yada, yada. It's a real thing. It happens. Now, listen, don't get me wrong. I am not here to preach to you about, oh my God, don't ever feel overwhelmed. Don't ever be stressed. Stress is bad. No, I'm not. I'm seeing a lot of that happening nowadays, by the way, in recent times where it's like, if you get even 5% stress, holy shit, run for the hills. No, it's not. It's okay. Stress is okay. But everything in doses. A lot of it is also not great. So today's topic, albeit it's about social media, but more specifically about Facebook, let me start the story by something that triggered all of it. So about 2.5 weeks ago, I'm having some issues. It's a weekend and I'm having some issues, and you'll have to excuse me if maybe I don't get into the real specific details of it just yet. I'll kind of hold that back. I'll give you the end though, right? Just for anyone who's a little nervous. I'm perfectly fine. It was just a scare. It was nothing. But I felt it was kind of like the universe kind of nudging in a way, like it was almost like a little warning. So I'm not going to get to specifics of the health stuff. In the future, probably in one of these episodes, I probably will, but just not quite there yet. So stuff starts to happen over the weekend, not feeling great. I go to my doctor on Monday, expecting it to be nothing, thinking, I should be good. I should go see a doctor. I go see a doctor and they start running some tests. And let me just put it this way. My doctor's hand starts to shake. I physically watch my doctor's hands shake. I watch this doctor scared, nervous. Of course, that never helps, right? So got a little anxious myself. And next thing I know, they're having me go to another doctor. I go to that doctor. Next thing I know, they're lining me up for a series of tests to do the next day. The next day comes and a series of tests happen. And I fail. Next thing I know, they want to do more tests. They're talking about hospitalization. They're talking about immediate medicine to get on. They're talking about potential risks here, potential risks there. And I remember turning to my wife at one point and I actually said, we just went from 0 to 100 in like 3 seconds flat. What is going on? Now, at the same time, that same evening, the first evening where I find out I failed some serious tests, medical tests, that same evening, I also find out that someone very close to me in my family has also fallen very ill, unrelated to what I was having. Everything kind of just comes in at one point, at a one time. It was just like, bam, on me, right? And now, it's almost like a glass of water that's been filled up. You ever try to fill up a glass of water and you keep putting a little water in, a little water in, a little water in? It feels like it's full, but you're like, oh, I can still put a drop in. But at one point, it just starts to come over. To me, it felt like that last drop had been put into that glass and the rest of it started to just pour out. So it was interesting. That was fine. Wasn't having any kind of breakdown. Wasn't super stressed out. When I get into those kinds of situations, I get very practical, logical. I get very like, here's step 1, step 2, step 3. Here's how we're going to address this and attack it. I'm going to have this conversation, talk to this person. I'm going to prepare this way. I'm going to prepare that way. But just to give you a bit of a short of it, at one point during these few days, I actually thought my life was at risk. Being honest. I mean, it got to that level. I began to question things. This brought some hard reality checks into my life. It made me start wondering what I'm focusing on, where I'm putting my energy, where I'm putting my time. And something really interesting I picked up from it was there was a lot of things I was doing in my life that were stressing me out. Right? I was listening to this podcast earlier today by Tim Ferriss, and the guest on this podcast asked a great question. And I'm sorry, I don't know the guest's name, so I'm not trying to take any credit for this. The guest was actually talking about someone else, and he said that this other person who's a life coach asks a question of their clients, and the person says, what are you currently doing to facilitate things in your life that you don't like? Right? What is your role in perpetuating things that bring you distress, that bring you unpleasantries, that bring you things you don't enjoy? So I have to tell you, when I thought my life was at risk, which by the way, it was a complete farce. I'm perfectly fine. So don't be worried. I'm all good. All right. Never been better. It was just a perfect fluke of events. And I'll talk about how that ended in a minute. But during this time, I brought a lot of things in my life into question. And I got to tell you, one of the things that made it top of my list that was just leading to negative emotions consistently, anger, frustration, sadness, rarely was it leading to good feelings, was Facebook. Now, notice I didn't say all social media. I said Facebook. I don't get these feelings from Twitter. I definitely don't get these feelings from TikTok. I actually really enjoy my time on TikTok. As a matter of fact, TikTok has started to overtake YouTube in the hours of videos watched per day. I spend a lot of time on TikTok and I don't have a problem with it. You know why? Because when I'm watching TikTok, most of the time, if you were in my house, first of all, it's during dead time. It's during hours I'm just like detoxing. I'm laughing. TikTok makes me laugh. It brings me joy. I pick up recipes I want to make from it. I find people that are creative. I find, artists who do amazing things that wow me. I find people that make me laugh. But yet on Facebook, it seems to be I am only disappointed. Maybe people are vividly expressing emotion or feelings or opinions I don't agree with. Maybe those people are people I otherwise really respect and love. And now it brings me into question of whether I want to follow them or talk to them anymore. I don't know why. It almost feels to me like it's designed to do that. So exactly around 2 weeks ago, I asked myself a question. At that time where I actually thought I might have very little time to live. I don't know, gosh. Do I want to spend even one moment of that flipping through Facebook? The answer was absolutely heck no. Now I love my Inside My Head group. I love my Inside My Head Facebook group, but do you know what? I was so fed up of what's going on Facebook that I walked away from the group as well. There's no way, I don't have enough discipline to log into the Facebook app and only play with the group and not look at the newsfeed. I don't have enough discipline for that, so I'm just not going to bother with it. It's awesome. It's been over 2 weeks. I don't miss even a moment of it. I don't think I'm going to go back. Now, I'm not here to tell you I've quit Facebook forever. No, I mean, I might reinstall the app. I mean, I didn't delete my profile. Maybe I'll go back. Maybe I'll look at it again. But I got to tell you, we're coming on 2 weeks and not a moment has gone by that I've missed even a second of it. So today's podcast episode is to get you to think about how you're using social media. Social media is not bad. But one of the biggest aha moments I had was they're all very different. I like going to Twitter because Twitter's got some cool information about crypto and NFTs based on who I'm following. And what I've noticed is Twitter is their algorithm based on who I follow. They're really only showing me information around those who I want to see. I'm not getting triggered. But I'm noticing on Facebook, that's not the case. It seems to me that they actually go out of their way to find posts and things that I don't really want to see. Or that are, leading to negative feelings. TikTok, again, their algorithm almost seems to be bringing positivity. So whoever said only bad news gets viralness or only bad things or things that make you angry, I don't know. I see some social media platforms that are actually not leaning on that and doing just fine. Now, maybe it's just my own personal behavior on each of these platforms. I don't know. But the point of today was, A, how are you using social media? And are you using it in a way that actually generates positivity, happiness, and allows you to grow? Number 2, forget social media. What else about in your life? What are you doing right now? I want you to take a few minutes and I want you to imagine as if you only have a short time to live. How would you change what you're doing right now, today, this moment? That was a reality check I had over the course of those few days. I redefined how I spend every waking moment. Do you know that I have fundamentally completely shifted my life in the last 2 weeks? I'm so much happier right now. My frequency is down, my pulse rates come down, everything has come down. And I'm doing more. By the way, when I came out of that, I want to spend more time with my family, friends, and learn. That was literally what I came away with. Well, first was with God, spend more time with God, more time in prayer, more time in the Bible. Second was more time with family. Third was more time with friends. And fourth was more time with my company and with those in my company and with my mission at Lurn. Anything outside of that can go itself. So ask yourself something. Take a moment and ask yourself, if you only had a little bit of time left, what would you be doing right now with yourself and with your day and with your life and with your projects and with what you're choosing to focus on? And do that. That's your answer. That's your answer. All right. So that was just kind of what I went through. And I'm telling you, I haven't had an episode like this with you in a long time. I have not really gotten this deep with you, but I felt the need to. I felt like someone out there needs to hear this. And so I wanted to make sure I was open about it. Now, here's what happened. So long story short, I got admitted to the hospital for a day. They did some tests. And about 15 minutes into the test, I'm awake during this test. I wasn't supposed to be, all right? They were going to put me out a little bit more than they actually did. It's okay. I'm awake. Everything happens for a reason. About 15 minutes into it, this doctor starts laughing. Let me tell you something. You're lying on a testing bed and they're probing you and the doc starts laughing. It ain't the most fondest of feelings out there. However, it was intriguing. My test, which could go as long as an hour, was over in about 15 to 20 minutes, to which the doctor looked at me and said, "You're perfect." I was like, "What?" "Yeah, the thing that we thought was at risk, it ain't. It's literally, you're 100% clear. I don't need to see you again. I'm not worried about you. Good to go." And I'm like, hold on there, a doc, for a second, because as of 3 or 4 days ago, you and your colleagues were fairly convinced that I was in a complete shit show. And he goes, "You know what? My years of having been in this field, I've probably seen a case like yours 5 times where you had the perfect storm. Test number 1 gave some results, which led to test number 2, which was a false positive, which led to test number 3, which was a false positive. The chances of this happening are minuscule, but it happened with you. And I'm telling you, without a shadow of doubt, you are good. Everything's good. Go home." And just like that, it was over. But left quite a mark on me. Changed me forever. And I like to think forever. Now I'm going to make sure I don't bounce back. But gosh, sometimes we are so busy talking about the hustle, the fight, talking about the success, talking about the money. I just wanted to take one moment to step back with you and just ask you, hey, is what you're doing right now meaningful? Does it matter? And if this was the last thing you ever did, would it matter? For me, I asked myself that question. I got to tell you, 85% of my life, 90% of the things I was doing in a given day were impactful, were what I would be doing. I was really proud of it, but there was 10 or 15%, which wasn't, of which Facebook was one of them, and it is gone. So, what's it for you? Thanks for listening. Listen, I'm perfectly fine. Don't be worried about me at all. But you are going to see some changes here. This Anik, I like to call myself Anik 3.0 at this point. I don't know what version I'm on, probably 13.0. But I'm a little bit more focused. I'm asking the question, does that really matter? Before I get upset about something, before I get worked up about something, before I start yelling or shouting or getting upset about something that didn't work the way I wanted to, I just stop and I say, does it really matter? In the grand scheme of things. You know what? 95% of the things that we get worked up about don't really matter. So don't waste time. Act as if today was the last day. Live with a smile and spend it doing the things that really matter. That's my message to you today. I hope it hits home and I hope it makes a big impact. This is Anik Singal reminding you, when life pushes you, stand straight, smile, push it the heck back. Click subscribe below. Leave me a comment. What do you think? I'm going to check these comments. I want to hear from you because this is a different kind of episode. You want more like this, or do you want me to go back to just, good old internet marketing, make money once? I don't care. Maybe we'll do a balance. All right. Make sure you click subscribe. Make sure you tell others about us. LURN.com, AnikPodcast.com. This is Anik signing off, reminding you, when life pushes you, stand straight, smile, push it the heck back, and I'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks for listening to The Fighting Entrepreneur with your host, Anik Singal.